Hey guys, just wanted to make this follow-up video giving a full tour of my 2018 Toyota Tundra. So my head unit, I'm using the Sony 9500ES. Mid-bass drivers, stereo integrity TM65 Mark IVs. And this is the big upgrade I've done. So these are the Steg MSS3s. So they're 4-inch mid-range drivers. And the only way I was able to get these up in the dash is reaching out to mkIIV from Audio and Reach. He made these custom mid-range adapter mounts for me. So what he does is he 3D scans this area of a different Tundra, and he's able to design these custom to whatever mid-range driver. And I was originally going to go with a couple different 3.5-inch mid-ranges, but I thought if this can be done, might as well go with the Stegs, because they perform very good. A lot of people really like them. Get that low mid-range, high up in the dash. My old 2008 Tundra, I had the stereo integrity M3 coppers and carbons, a 3.5-inch, and I crossed those down to about 350. But yeah, these should be able to go down, maybe even cross below 200, but we'll see how they measure when I get the tune going. But I had the custom stealth grill option, so that's what it looks like with the grill. And then the other side over there. So the tweeters, I'm using the OEM sail panels, and I just bought OEM online. There's no tweeters in there, but I used the factory mounting in there, and I went with the Wavecor 22mm tweeter. So it was a home audio tweeter. I disassembled a little bit of mods to get that to fit. So that is the front three-way. So amps down here for the subs. So in my previous build, I did a lot of experimenting with different drivers, and I didn't really want to play the amp game, but I went to a Mosconi, what was it, 100.4 AS to JL Audio XD. Anyway, Class AB to Class D, and I just liked the way the sub sounded, just with everything being Class AB. So I decided to stick with that, and space was a factor. So this worked out pretty well for the subs. And then I really like these Sony, I don't even remember what model it is, maybe XM-100. But anyway, I really like these as a good budget 4-channel that sound pretty amazing. And I didn't show the subs, but so I'm currently using the stereo integrity BM Mark IVs. I'm gonna go back to the Mark IIIs because I bought these used, or actually I bought one used, and I had an issue with shipping. The basket was damaged, and the voice coil was rubbing. Well, I reached out to the guy I got it from, and there was some communication issues, and it was hard to reach out to him, and reached out to Nick from Stereo Integrity about repairing the driver, and he actually gave me one, sent it to me free, and pretty much said just keep the other one as a conversation piece. Well, I figured I'd try to repair it, so I bolted it to a baffle and used a rubber mallet to try to straighten it out. And it did work for a while, but that voice coil that was rubbing in the past, it must have just completely opened, because it's basically that one's a single dual voice coil, or single voice coil. So one of the dual voice coils It must have, I don't know, must have rubbed enough or whatever, but it still sounds good. But I need to do something, and I couldn't find a direct replacement. Of course, they don't make them anymore. So I've had these guys, which I really liked in my old Tundra, but it did have some issues with the foam, the glue around the foam coming off, so I'll use some E6000. Got that one repaired in nice shape. This one I bought used really cheap, and this previous owner had some issues and did some glue work, so I tried to do the best with that, but not sure what they used here, but that E6000 really works really good. All right, I'm going to talk about some of these other drivers, but I want to show the other amps and the processor I'm using. Okay, oh yeah, then there's another look at the Steg. On this side, I want to show the back side of the grill. Matt did an amazing job with these. I'm very, very happy with the way these came out. And kind of sad that this only lets them play above 1600 hertz. But they actually do really well above that. I mean, if I didn't check the tune after I installed them, but yeah, they actually work pretty good as a high band or a wide band. All right, so down here, so running the tweeters in the mid-range, I'm using a Sony, and on the other side, that Sony's bridged for the mid-bass drivers. And I'm using miniDSP 8x12 Direct Live. My old Tundra, I used the Dayton Audio DSP and kind of used that as experimenting with, I guess, three-way DSP. Just a lot of that stuff was new to me. But with this, I've had this truck for 2.5 years now, so I'm like, well, really overdue getting this three-way setup done. And my home theater setup, I have a Atmos 7.4.4, or 2 18s and 2 15s down there. But my Anki receiver uses Direct Live, and I've played with that quite a bit, so I'm looking forward to getting this tuned, which I'm just finishing up the wiring right now, and got to swap out the subs. I have the controller right there. I'm going to figure out some way to mount that, if I 3D print mount, but I kind of like it right there. Easy to controller adjust from the driver's seat. All right, so let's talk about some of the different drivers I used in the past. All right, well, let's say I am using all ResoNix sound treatment. I just did the CLD squares on the rear doors, and on the front doors I also used some sound absorption. But I haven't had a chance to get back behind here, so I plan on throwing a few panels back there. And those are the panels. I really like this stuff. I've used kill mats in the past, and I definitely noticed a huge difference. And what I was running was the TM65 Mark IVs paired with the Audio Frog GS25s. And I was hoping to run these lower, but again, I'm very disappointed that Sony doesn't allow lower crossover for wide bands. But as soon as I did all the sound treatment stuff, I was pretty satisfied with everything, and I guess I lost a little motivation to finish this build. But these were all right. They weren't the most detailed, but for a wide band and my setup, they're pretty good. I ran the Morels, the CCWR 254s in the past. I like these. They're very detailed. They're obviously pretty limited for how small they are. The stereo integrity M3s, the carbon and the coppers. I really like the coppers as a dedicated mid-range, and they paired very well with the M25 tweeters. I had that in my old Tundra, and I swapped to the carbons for a little bit, but I just liked the combination of the coppers with the M25s. These firing up in the dash. They were just, I just really liked them. So I was planning on doing the Excelsius XXM-325s. It uses a foam spider, if I want to call it that. And I liked how it had the grill built in. I did purchase these grills if I was planning on mounting those to the OEM grill. I never really got a chance to use these at all. Just bench testing them, listening to them. I think they were going to be good drivers, but the Stegs are just going to be able to do more. So these are some of the tweeters. These, my old Tundra, I had pods mounted on the A-pillars, so I really like that front forward sound stage. These, I can still probably use those, put those in the sail panels and easily swap them out and do a retune. They should fit pretty well. So these are the M22s. And the M25 Mark IIs. But yeah, that's kind of the overview, and looking forward to getting everything finished and getting the microphone out and get listening. So if you guys have any questions, I'll try to do my best to answer them. Peace.